The Chicago City Council narrowly approving Mayor Brandon Johnson's 2025 budget, including a controversial $40 million short-term loan for a city already swimming in debt, all part of a chaotic meeting where residents slammed the mayor.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants. Anything that you all pass is not genuine.
You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion.
He wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt. It's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals.
Chicago reporter William Kelly joins me now. William, you were inside that budget vote. How embarrassing was this for Mayor Brandon Johnson, even with the budget ultimately passing?
Even after it passed, nobody applauded, Todd. As a lifelong Chicagoan, I love Chicago with all my heart. I'm not a Chicago basher, and I love those people. It brings tears to my eyes, Todd, who came to Chicago City Hall week after week. It took 4 times for this budget to finally pass. $17 billion. These real Chicagoans, they made their voices heard. They made it clear they don't trust Brandon Johnson, Mayor Johnson, with 50 cents. Okay, they know he's just going to spend that money on migrants and violent teenagers. Brandon Johnson says it himself. Todd?
You've been coming on this show for years. Your passion for the Windy City is definitely noted during each appearance. You mentioned the migrant. Brandon Johnson, under his tutelage, under his leadership, Chicago has spent $527 million taxpayer dollars on migrants. So my question for you, William, would Mayor Johnson have had an easier time passing a budget if, I don't know, he didn't spend so much money for illegal migrants at the expense of tax-paying city residents?
Well, that was almost to the penny the amount that Mayor Johnson wanted to raise property taxes on the real people of Chicago. Thankfully, I had the opportunity to call it out as a migrant tax, which motivated people to come to Chicago City Hall and literally shout at the mayor, which I guess is what was necessary. But yet, Mayor Johnson still got the votes from his friends and allies in the Chicago City Council. The vice mayor, here's an example of where we're at in Chicago right now, okay, Todd? The vice mayor, a guy named Alderman Burnett, convicted of bank robbery, okay, of armed robbery, spent time in jail. He's a Chicago City alderman. He's getting paid, in addition to his aldermanic salary, for almost $500,000, okay, to be vice mayor, which essentially has absolutely no duties or responsibilities other than waiting to possibly become mayor if something were to happen to Mayor Johnson. So in Chicago, if you really, really, really want to rip off the people of Chicago, don't rob a bank, become an alderman.
That's wild. That is a wild story you just told us. The vote got so heated, the mayor basically cleared out the room, said he didn't want the citizens there. This is their city. They get an opportunity to weigh in on this, and the mayor said, get out. Has Chicago finally reached the tipping point that so many cities and towns, and quite frankly, the United States of America reached in November with the vote, that they're finally going to vote out the Mayor Johnsons, the Mayor Lightfoots, and bring some sanity back to Chicago?
Well, it's an old joke, Todd. Is Chicago ready for reform? And the fact is that it might just be, because we see this money going to migrants. I did some math myself, okay? Mayor Johnson has 100+ staffers. They're all making 6 figures. Many of them have become notorious as a result of, at William J. Kelly on X, videos where I literally have to chase them down the hallways of City Hall to talk to them. One of them in particular, Kennedy Barkley, is famous for saying F the pigs, okay? This is what I guess her #1 qualification for becoming a Mayor Johnson staffer, okay? 100+ staffers, wow. 6 figures apiece, adds up to millions upon millions of dollars out of the pockets of real Chicagoans. Yeah, I think it might be, Chicagoans might be ready for some real change some real reform, Todd.
Yeah, and despite everything you just said, the mayor wants to pay for all that, pay for the migrants, pay for those ridiculous salaries by raising taxes on property. That is wild. William J. Kelly, thank you. Glad that didn't pass for the people of Chicago. They need a break.
As chaos erupts over far-left Chicago mayor's $40 million short-term loan in next year's $17 billion budget, forcing Brandon Johnson to clear the public twice in order to get it passed. Look at this.
This meeting will stay in recess. I'm going to ask that the Sergeant at Arms clear every member of the public.
Unbelievable. After 4 tries, the budget passed by 2 votes, while Johnson championed the spending package as a new way forward for the city. What's he talking about? Our next guest is one of the 23 aldermen who voted against the budget. Anthony Beal joins us now. Anthony, bring us inside the room last night. What was it like?
Well, it was total chaos. When you look at everything that you saw just in that segment, it was just total chaos. And we're trying to pass a budget. We're trying to get real answers. We're trying to do what's right by the people of the city of Chicago. And we couldn't get real answers from the budget director. We couldn't get the right information we needed to make a good, educated decision on how to move the city forward. And we're still spending money, hundreds of millions of dollars on migrants. And we want to continue to fine and feed the people of the city of Chicago when we continue to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on migrants.
And there's no end in sight because he doesn't want to cooperate with somebody who can bring that number down by lessening the number coming in. In fact, they say in Chicago, the numbers you're giving under Brandon Johnson, the mayor, $527.5 million, let alone the inconvenience of seeing him in the airports and police stations and around. I mean, obviously people are fed up. Doesn't he hear this?
Well, we would hope he would hear it, but it doesn't seem like he does. We've tried working with this mayor. It's about 15 or 16 of us who have been around and know the city and know the budget very well, and he won't even talk to us. He won't even entertain our ideas about trying to right-size the city of Chicago. We tried to right-size it. We tried, our budget is extremely bloated. We've increased our budget over $5 billion in the last 4 years. We can't sustain that type of growth. And so we tried to right-size it. We tried to have cuts and efficiencies. And this mayor totally ignored all of that and wants to just continue to spend money.
So, Anthony, real quick, for people outside the city that don't look at the budget you see, what else are you spending things on that you shouldn't be?
Well, when you see that the mayor, at the end of the day, he bought about 6 votes to get his budget passed. He gave aldermen letters that said, we're going to do certain things in your ward that should be getting done anyway, because it's the right thing to do. You shouldn't have to hold services back and hold things over people's head just to buy their vote. People are starving to get things done in their wards, and the mayor's holding services and goods over their heads in order to get their votes. And these people are so desperate to do something for their communities, they sold their vote very cheap.
But it's almost like they have no options, right? It's incredible. It's not like your education system is booming and the recreational facilities are fantastic. They're not. Must be really frustrating. Continue to fight, Anthony. Thanks so much for joining us, bringing us inside the chaos.
Thanks so much for having me.
You got it.